Tachyon and the ABC Dragon Cannon Union update is impacting a little bit more than we expected. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more honest content. So the Duelist pack has made its splash on the meta, and this is how the OCG is currently projecting its meta to kind of look. Now, still on the top end of things, you still have the Tenpai special. You have fire and more fire. Yeah, that's not really going to change. I think a lot of the top half of this meta is still going to continue to look very scary to a lot of people. A lot of people are going to look at this meta and they're going to go, why would I want to play this? In A tier, we have Runic and Rescue Ace Fiendsmith. That's right. Fiendsmith has somehow found its way into the course of the meta just as this huge swing. In B tier, we have the Unchained Yubel deck. We have Melodious with fire. You have Memento actually making it pretty well down there. And then, of course, the Super Fusion Supreme King Melodious combo. And then C tier, we have Yubel with the branded Chimera stuff, Dankatron and Friends, and actually the Tachyon special has found its way into C tier. Now, not doing so hot, but some examples of things that have been showing up. You have the Code Talker, okay. You also have Legatia and Friends. Unfortunately, Centurion's not been doing so hot. We also have Pure Melodious, and then, of course, wow, Voiceless Voice has fallen super far down there. We also have the Whitewoods deck, Salad, which has been a very interesting challenger in the meta, and of course the XYZ Dragon Cannon Kaiba Special. Oh, okay, let's pass on over to examples for this format. So in the early contender slot here for meta challengers, Tenpai Dragons, you do play two of the little Pobbler extender, triple of the Poke Drago, and then of course most of the rest of this deck is going to be pretty straightforward. You do see the third or the second Fadra being sighted down there. The fact that this deck is even getting away with playing one Fadra is insane. And of course you see the main phase skipper built into this deck as well, and of course a Doomsday Star in case you need to clean up a troublesome board. Okay, and then of course the Fire King special for the Snake Eyes builds. You know, seeing Rise to Full Heights down there in the side deck is a very scary thing. I didn't think I would be seeing that. You do see Molchomi down there in the side deck as well, but this build getting the chance to use Arvada and Friends, the Kirin interruptions to break your opponent's field, are those big things that tend to make this deck a little bit stronger than some of its predecessors. And it's, I don't know, I didn't expect to actually see this showing up. Now, we also have Pure Snake Eyes. Oh boy. You know, the fact that the Fire King variant is actually doing so well in the OCG is kind of nuts. You do see the Silvera and the Chase being sighted down there. That's not exactly what I expected to be seeing for this, but okay. Most of the main deck, though, I mean, granted, they have less turbo filtering than our version does, but it is pretty standard. You do see the Fucho built into this as well. Well, congratulations to Heavy Storm Turbo. Just kidding. All right, our Rescue Ace pile here. You do see the Fiendsmith package being built into the deck, getting the chance to put Luri on the field. Pretty good. And then, of course, we can go ahead and deploy the Beatrice, so you can get all your free value that I guess you want to try to get off of it. Doesn't really feel like you're doing too much, but I guess milling down an extra name along the way is going to help out for full combo. Okay, well, Rescue Ace, good stuff. Still sending all of those cards against your opponent is going to get you some free wins. And then, of course, we have Runic. Runic with the Tyrant's Tirade is actually something I haven't seen the TCG build actually adapting towards. I think Tyrant's Tirade is a very cool card for what it does, but you don't really see a lot of it. We also do have a Soul Absorption in this deck. What in the world is that doing in here? Well, the cute little options and tech choices that you see these builds actually getting the chance to play is going to be the reasons why you see a deck like this continue to do so well. Oh, we have our Yubel good stuff deck. Oh boy, double Phantom in this build. We are playing the Chaos Core. We're also playing a little bit more of the Unchained package in here. I mean, versus the TCG build that just gets the one stepping stones for this deck, which I think is the thing that kind of makes the deck a little bit more tolerable on our side, is not having to dedicate all that Unchained space to the pile. But it does show what you could actually do if you had more of the searchability that this build does. Next up here, we have Melodious Snake Eye. Basically, this is kind of what the TCG was trying. You know, you're definitely also seeing the illusion trap in here as well. That link to getting the ability to put the Azurune on the field so you can have that little pop during your opponent's turn. I think the Top Hair Rabbit is a very cool card. I do expect more builds to try to play it. But the splashable package that this deck gets to abuse with the Ostinato is freaking hilarious to me. Good stuff. Next up is Melodious via Electromite and Friends. Now, the TCG really can't get the chance to do the pendulum good stuff that this build really brings to the table because we don't have Electromite. Electromite is that needed for this deck, in my opinion, just so you can go down the full combo lines and get the full advantage. You also do have the Secret Village lock built into this. If you ask my personal opinion, I think that this deck is incredibly broken, and I'm glad that we don't have to deal with this as a rogue contender on our side of the meta. Ugh. Next up here we have standard Yubel Fiendsmith. I'm surprised to see that this ranks lower than it actually does. You do see the one Shavara built into the deck. Personally, I think that this is the best version of the deck, and to see that, you know, it might not necessarily be placing genuinely high amongst the players, its combo ceiling, it just feels that incredibly good to me for what you want to see. And, you know, we just had a feature match on the channel. You'll eventually get the chance to watch a Fiendsmith versus Yubel and what this deck can actually do. Next up here we have, oh boy, so this is the Illusion Good Stuff Chimera deck that has kind of been left in an interesting state, having to adapt these Fiendsmith cards. You also do see we are citing the Diablaze down there as well. Diablaze is a very good card, but now that you have the Fiendsmith package built into this deck, I don't necessarily feel like, you know, you need to have it in the main deck. If you need to side it on in, you do have it down there. So, okay, base is covered on that. Next up, Infernoid. Oh boy. Still wish the fact that if we had Grass Looks Greener, we could play these 60-card turbo versions out here and get the chance to make these crazy builds that the OCG is making. And, you know, because we also don't have triple reasoning, triple Monster Gate for the high RNG ceiling, well, you know, here we are. Also, transaction roll black for the Mayakashi trap card off of the Beatrice. Yes, more Fiendsmith combo at its finest. Next up is the Tachyon pile. The immediate thing I see here is Kaiser Coliseum, you know, holding a Tachyon dragon for the line. Yeah, that's actually kind of stupid. That's not exactly what I expected this deck to do. You know, we do have the FTK running around with this, with the Catapult Turtle and the shenanigans. I think it's the fact that that build didn't even get ranked in here. You do need to consider that that deck is a meta challenger, 150%. Next up here, we have the, oh boy, this is actually Adignister. So, and of course, they still do have Circular, which automatically puts this deck into a non-existent tier for our side of the game. You know, still the fact that this deck is able to turbo through and still kind of sit at the bottom of the rogue pile is incredibly interesting to me. It also just proves, you know, Firewall Turbo going through all of these link plays and setting up these boards actually has a pretty interesting place in the game. All right, now we have our Whitewoods Centurion. You know, I do like the fact that the Whitewood stuff can kind of feed off of our stuff. This might be the reason why King Calamity gets banned in the TCG, because this deck just turbos through its utility options so very well. And the fact that the Centurion stuff just feeds into this, you know, you're rotating these big synchro monsters against your opponent. Yeah, level 12 has never been necessarily easier to make. I do expect this to do some crazy stuff. And then we have Pure Melodious. Wow. The fact that the Pure Melodious deck is doing so horribly, you do see that this build is playing the new hand trap in here for the searchable no fun allowed for your opponent. I do think that that is an incredibly useful option, because I mean you're just doing light things for this deck. That's all you're doing is like, oh no, I get locked on 3 attributes. Doesn't matter. All right, everything that I need to do is light. So actually getting to take advantage of that card is pretty good. And we also do have Voiceless Voice. Holy crap. This deck being left in a terrible state is actually pretty hilarious. I will say, though, that being able to see triple Summon Limit, triple Dynamondo actually be the cards that try to help this deck, I guess, make some sort of board, does, yeah, that's honestly, that's about it. Voiceless Voice is very, 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 very filled out right now. Ooh, we have pure whitewood. So this has been playing the toy box package with Invoked in here as well. I mean, being able to set up a free Macabre so you can kind of do your thing is incredibly good. And then also to top things off, I mean, all the whitewood stuff for this deck is free. You know, you do a full toy box, get 2 cards on the field. Well, congratulations, you have 2 extenders that you can bring up to the field, and then you can use those as synchro jump points so you can do your thing. Not exactly what I expected the whitewood stuff to be using, but I mean, it's the free synergy out there. Salad coming off of its YCS Japan top 4, and then we've seen this deck kind of going through a good time in the TCG right now. The fact that this build is sporting off triple evenly. Also, there really is no Nibiru running around in the format to kind of check this deck. So you're basically just good Link stuff climbing through all of the fire ranks. And then, of course, this build has double Promethean Princess to ensure that it is able to go through what it needs to do. And I think the most interesting deck out of this is the Turbo ABC piece pile here, as you see this deck actually playing Obelisk the Tormentor as its choice of pick. Now, I don't know if that'd be the one I would want to go with, but the fact that, you know, you've essentially built a Kaiba Turbo deck here to be able to do all of this fun stuff, this is so stupid, but I like this a lot. So, what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.